Hi there, viewers. Can you hear me? Thank you for responding with yes. Klaus, new eritrology, Elim Gizao, peace and love, Oromo, news updates, stocks tutorial. Uh, he's saying good morning, asking about my health. I am fine. I am recovering, preparing for my surgery. Alicia Joshua says, let's start. Burji Suyama joined too. Burji, I did not see you in the last few live chats. Hope you're fine. Hope you're safe and sound and doing fine. Nisabho says, Salam Sajid. Walaikum assalam, Nisabho. Uh, Two new stories for you. Ken NVO says, hello. Most of you by now, I think must have heard about what happened to Abune Petros. Ebenezer Gobeze says, good evening. What happened to Abune Petros? Why was he denied entry into Ethiopia? How to interpret this development? How to understand it? Ogdogi says, evening. Well, the beauty of this live chat, Adis Dimts Ethio 360 says, Romama is collapsing. Beauty of this live chat is that people from different parts of the world are part of this live chat. People from Africa, Europe, North America, Asia are here. People saying good evening, good morning, according to their time zones. And people from all, Mesfin Kibru here to Bob Smart as well. People from all main nations and nationalities of the Horn of Africa attend my views and news. That is what I love about these live chats and about viewer participation. Habisha, can you tell us the two headlines and proceed with greetings? Yes, I told you. Aspire says no, Ethiopia is rising. So, firstly, we'll talk about Abune Petros. What happened to him? How to understand what is going to happen now in coming days. Menelik says, hello, Sajid. Hope you're fine. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm fine. The Oromia. I am Oromo. Somali people stop killing Oromos, he says. And secondly, what did PM Abiy say at the parliament today? We'll try to analyze his speech. He spoke against democracy. And what he said about Somalia is leading some people to conclude that Ethiopia might freeze its MOU with Somaliland. I want to share with you my understanding of PM Abiy's speech. What did he say about Somalia? What did he say about Tigray? What did he say about Ola Fano? What did he say about economy? So I want to share with you my understanding. King Ben Vlog says, good riddance. He is USA citizen. I'll speak in detail on what happened to Abune Petros. How to understand. We need to understand this development in the proper context. Should we understand it in the context of Ethiopian government's efforts to weaken the church? Or should we understand it in the context of rising tension between top Amhara leadership and Ethiopian PM Abiy's government? Let me start, viewers. Ethio 360 says, I stand with Somalia. Abiy Raba has joined to Hussein Hebo says, hi, Sajid. Hi, Hussein. How are you? Bob Smart says, no. Who is he saying no to? Lily Hele joined, a member. Welcome, Lily. General Komsa joined to Sigai Hele said, hi, Sajid. How do you? Yemaskan says, "How are you? Muni Muni is back." Yes, Muni Muni is back. It was good to hear from him. A brave man managed to uh, return to my views and news. Ephraim Tisfai says, "I hope you're feeling much better." Yes, Ephraim, I am much better. Your daughter is great reporter, says Addis Dems Etho 360. She needs your encouragement. Obviously, she has a lot to learn. It will take some time. But uh, by the way, it's difficult for me to prepare. Waleed Muhammad says, I stand with Amhara. It's difficult for me to groom someone to be on my views and news. Because those who live far away from here, they cannot stay in touch with me 24 hours a day. Only option I have is that there should be someone with me who should learn from me, who should understand Ethiopia from the start, and then she should share her understanding of the situation in Ethiopia. She's a long way to go, but she is passionate. She wants to study Ethiopia. I think I should encourage her. And maybe one day she might be able to speak about Ethiopia in an impressive and impartial manner. I want my views and news to continue. And by the way, I tried to bring people to my views and news. Miss Irma used to interview me about Eritrea a few months ago. Later, she could not continue that. She had her engagements. I tried to start videos in Amharic as well. I could not continue because those who were translating, they could not continue. I want my views and news to continue in one or the other form. Uh, Maybe I won't be able in future. God knows what the future holds for me. So I need someone to be here. Uh, let's see how Sarah can manage to uh, understand the issues in Ethiopia. Muni Muni joined to welcome Muni Muni. I hope your uh, time away from the my views and news went well, and you managed to complete your stay there. Pegesti is not here. Pegesti, I think, is boycotting my views and news since you left. AM Hirsi joined to welcome AM Hirsi. Now let me speak, viewers. Let me speak a little about Abune Petros. If you allow me, let me speak a little. Then I'll take your questions. I'll try to respond to your comments too. Somalis are here. They are regular viewers now. Some mistrust me. They think that I support Ethiopia. Though Ethiopians mistrust me as well. Some accuse me of being pro TPLF, some accuse me of being pro Ola, some accuse me of being pro Abiy, some accuse me of being pro Sasevoki. But I've seen that several Somali viewers criticize me as if I am anti Somali, as if I'm pro Ethiopia. I don't know why they got this impression. Maybe they'll learn with the passage of time that reporting could be incorrect, but not partial. Let me start. So, Abune Petros is the General Secretary of Ethiopian Orthodox Church Synod. So he's a top Abune, top Archbishop. And thank you, Abdul Qadir. He says, I respect you, brothers from Somalia. Thank you, Abdul Qadir. Yes, I'm talking about a few people. I respect you as well. I love you all. Hamza Abdullahi, I am Somalia. Yeah, I know that now hundreds of people from Somalia watch me. And I'll ensure the quality, the impartiality of reporting. If I am making any mistakes, do correct me. Uh, so Abune Petros is one of the key archbishops because he is the general secretary of the synod, firstly. Secondly, he is the Archbishop of New York, uh, uh, that area. And the man is from the Amhara region. I think he's from Gojam or Gondar, I'm not sure, but he's from the Amhara region. A controversial man. Why? Because during the 2 year long war in Tigray, two Ethiopian archbishops of the Orthodox Church from the Amhara region, is from Gondar, Ken and Yusez. They were accused of blessing the war on Tigray, Abun Abraham and Abun Petros. And I think this spoke in favor of the military operation against Tigray forces. But the patriarch Abune Matthias condemned the war, calling it a genocide. But the patriarch was silenced. He was not allowed to speak, or you can say he kept a low key. Uh, but the two archbishops became controversial. And one of the reasons behind the split between the main church and Tegarai church was the role played by these two archbishops, Abune Abraham and Abune Petros. Tegarai archbishops accused these two Abunes of blessing the war. And we saw after that when uh, Ethiopian government tried to back and prop up a splinter group. Welcome, Sammy, as a member joined. Almost a year ago, these two Abunes, Abune Abraham, Abune Petros, very strongly opposed that splinter group. And that splinter group, if you remember back then, that splinter group of three archbishops, Abune Evastatius, Abune Zinamorkos, they said that the main church was dominated by archbishops from the Amhara region. So that trio of archbishops basically accused Abune Abraham and Abune Petros that Oromia splinter Orthodox group could not survive. And then government mediated between that group and the main church. But I said, if you remember a year ago, that Ethiopian government was behind the formation of that splinter group. Government could not succeed because church showed unity. We saw massive church gatherings in Amhara, in Addis Ababa. Government felt threatened. Government backtracked, and we saw that church remained united. But challenge from Oromia, Tigray, still there, faced by the church. Abune Petros went to the States, the US, before Epiphany. And when he departed Ethiopia, I think he was told that maybe he won't be allowed to return. He went to the US, and today it has been confirmed that he tried to return to Ethiopia from New York. He landed in Addis Ababa at Bole Airport, but he was stopped. He was not allowed entry into Ethiopia. He was deported, you can say. He was told to leave, he was told to return, and last report which I got was that he was deported back to US, but his flight was in Dubai, UAE. Maybe it's a transit flight, and through Dubai, Kidane Birhane joined to a member. Welcome, Kidane. Maybe it's a transit flight. He's returning to the US. And he has confirmed that. The man is a green card holder, by the way. Now, how to interpret this development? Does it indicate the seriousness of tension between the main church and the government, or the government and Amhara ruling elite. Tension is there between the main church and the government. Why? Because we saw that uh, when Abune Locus criticized the prime minister, almost called for assassination of prime minister a few weeks ago. After that, government condemned Abune Locus' statement, asking church to take action. Church did not take action. Church did not condemn the remarks made by Abune Locus. Two Abunes, I think, used very strong language against the government, against Ethiopian PMR. So PMR's government not happy with the church because church is not taking action against those Abunes who are criticizing the Prime Minister of Ethiopia and using very strong, hateful language against the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. And maybe the government believes that these archbishops are protecting those who are criticizing the Prime Minister. Firstly, this development indicates, and by the way, Church has issued a statement just an hour ago. Church issued a statement demanding the return of Abune Petros, asking relevant government bodies that they must allow Abune Petros to return to the country. Shambal Fatine joined to welcome Shambal. This development is also indicative of tension between Ethiopian government of PMRB and top Amhara leadership. Abune Petros is from the Amhara region. Top Amhara politician from the Amhara region resigned a few days ago. Demake Mekonnen, Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister. Before that, Siom Mesfen, another minister from the Amhara region, Minister of Peace, defected, sought asylum in the US. Gaidu Andar Gaichu, top Amhara leader, once an ally of Ethiopian PM, has sought asylum in Belgium. So there are serious tensions between Amhara ruling elite and Ethiopian Prime Minister, Ethiopian PM Abiy's government. So we can interpret this development in two ways. It's indicative of government versus church tension, government versus Amhara leadership tension. Church, how will it respond? Church will hit back. Church, by the way, if any institution in Ethiopia has the capability to put pressure upon the government, is church. And church feels that that government is after the church. Government wants to weaken, it wants to split, it wants to divide the church by promoting conflicts within the church. The conflict in the Amhara region is also leading to rift between the church and government. Religious celebrations disrupted in the Amhara region. Religious celebrations means fundraising as well. Amhara region is a big source of funding for the church. Tegarai too. Tegarai has separated. Now the other main source of funding, Amhara region, is seeing a warlike situation. Church, it means, cannot raise huge amounts of money in the Amhara region. Church is going to face economic challenge. It is going to face challenge to keep its unity intact. It is going to face challenge from Oromia. Lots of challenges faced by the church, and church attributes these challenges to the government. So coming days crucial. What will church do? How strong a position will the church take to bring Abune Petros back to Ethiopia? That remains to be seen. Now I can read your comments and take your questions. Gaidu went to Netherlands to defend his PhD. Someone is saying Kira talking to Muni Muni. Uh, Muni Muni believes Kira is a male. I think Muni Muni is reconfirming. He's a very smart guy. My question, viewers, is how far will church go in bringing back Abune Petros? What will church do apart from issuing a statement, which church has done today? What is next? This is what I would like to talk about. General Truth said this bishop is fond of members. Well done by PP here. Can PP but it would be difficult for PP to deny entry to Abune Petros to Ethiopia, I think, if church builds pressure upon the government. Somali clans will unite against Oromo, someone is saying. By the way, just one point I want to make. Somalia Ethiopia tension should not be portrayed as Oromo Somali matter. Please don't say that, because it could lead to ethnic violence. Already, we have seen one massacre in Somalia, 6 Ethiopians massacred there. I would say let's call it Ethiopia Somalia tension. Even I would say Ethiopian government versus Somalia's government tension. Don't call it Oromo versus Somali tension, because both Oromo Somalis live in Ethiopia as well. And if Oromos in Somalia are attacked, you'll see its consequence in Ethiopia too. Please don't read on the screen. Amnath says, well, let me make this live chat inclusive and participatory and interactive. I read comments, I respond to comments, I respond to questions. That is how I make this live chat interactive. There is no point if I just speak and you people, and I don't respond to your questions and comments. And I can make a video, which I do mostly. But this live chat is it's about being interactive. It's about being participatory. So that is why I read your comments too. Trapzone, a member joined too. Catholic Church in Mogadishu has been reopened today, Nisabho says. Magatism joined to welcome Magatism. Morcos says government represents the people. Well, by the way, Government represents the people. Do you think majority of Orthodox followers would support denying entry to Abune Petros into Ethiopia? I don't think so. Yes, there could be some people in Tagaray or some in Oromia, but I wouldn't say that majority of Orthodox followers don't want to see Abune Petros return to Ethiopia. So it's basically a political decision by the government, and I think government will face consequences. Ahmad Omar is all prayers for my surgery. Thank you, Ahmad Omar. Hopefully, after oh, around 10 days, I'll undergo surgery. I hope everything will be okay. Now, let's move on to the next news story, which is about the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. He spoke today at the parliament. The man is fond of delivering long speeches. He wants to be seen as a democratic leader, as someone who is accountable, answerable to the parliament, to the MPs of parliament. But at the same time, the man seems to be against democracy. Isn't it interesting that he was responding to questions at the parliament, and the system which he represents, system of government, is obviously a democracy, though it's not true democracy. And he seems to have ridiculed democracy when he spoke. He said as if democracy leads to anarchy. And the anarchy, the conflicts in Ethiopia, according to the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, are because of democracy. Isn't it a joke, by the way? There is no true democracy in Ethiopia. There is no genuine political opposition here. There is no freedom of media. There is no freedom of a judiciary as well. Independence of judiciary. All these are pillars of democracy, by the way. Democracy does not mean holding of elections. It means vibrant, independent media. It means independent judiciary. It means freedom of expression. It means election with equal opportunities for the government and opposition. AZ King joined to hello. Are you called? Sajid Master says a little. So there are several pillars of democracy on which democracy stands. There is no true democracy in Ethiopia. No, Johannes, you're not late. So if there is anarchy in Ethiopia, it's due to a lack of democracy. But the man spoke as if he was saying that the conflicts in Ethiopia are because of the freedom, the democracy which has been introduced by his government. Maybe he's comparing himself to what is happening in Eritrea, in Isas, Worki's country. That there is no anarchy there because there is no democracy there. And since there is anarchy, there is conflict in Ethiopia, that is, it's because there is democracy here. But my understanding is that the reason behind anarchy, behind conflicts in Ethiopia is that one party, one man, his kitchen cabinet are making big decisions. Opposition, there is no genuine opposition, no genuine independent judiciary, no genuine independent election commission, no freedom of media. That is how I understand the situation, firstly. Secondly, the man criticized Tegarai. He said that not a single death has been recorded death from hunger in Ethiopia so far. It's a big claim, by the way. I did a video about that a few hours ago. It's a big claim because we have heard from Tigray regional government officials, Amhara regional government officials, that people died of hunger in Ethiopia in recent months. But the Prime Minister is denying deaths from hunger. He said there is drought, but it's not something new. Droughts happening in Ethiopia for decades. Government is not responsible for onset of a drought in Ethiopia. But government is doing its best. It is trying to provide aid. It is helping the people of Tigray, people of other parts of Ethiopia. But people, individuals should not use humanitarian situation for political purposes. So I think he gave a shut-up call to Tigray regional government, which issued a very strong statement yesterday. Visible tension between Tigray regional government and Ethiopian federal government. Where will it end? We don't know. But from his talk today, it was evident that uh, there is a visible tension between Tigray and federal government. Thirdly, the man spoke in detail about the projects which have been implemented in the Amhara region, and he called upon armed groups to lay down arms and talk to the government. By the way, government is talking to Ola. Ola has not laid down arms so far. Two rounds of talks held so far. Talks collapsed. Third round of talks could start in coming days. I know that background contacts have been established. If government can talk to Ola, why can't it talk to Fano? No, no talks to Fano. Here, I think Ethiopian government position is controversial. It is ready to talk to Ola, but not ready to talk to Fano groups. He attributed economic problems to the conflicts in Ethiopia and to external pressure, as if because of conflicts, government is unable to make big decisions. While uh, conflicts are to be resolved by the Prime Minister, by his government. And most of these conflicts began because of the decisions made by the government. So he is now confirming that these conflicts are limiting his government's capabilities to lead the country towards economic prosperity. Still, no talks to groups in Amhara region. Operation will continue there. Then what he said about Somalia led some people to conclude that maybe Ethiopia is going to freeze or abandon the MOU which it signed with Somaliland almost a month ago. What did he say about Somalia? Well, he just said that Somalia does not want to wage war on Ethiopia. There are people. There are some forces which want to pit Somalia against Ethiopia. He said that Ethiopia sacrificed for Somalia. Ethiopia will sacrifice for Somalia. I think he was referring to the presence of Ethiopian troops in Somalia. And he said that there is no country in the world which has been so welcoming of Somalis. And Somalia will, and Ethiopia will always be a well-wisher for the people of Somalia and for Somalia. And if there are talks between Somalia and Somaliland, Ethiopia will be the first one to welcome such development. And that Ethiopia only wants a small territory in return for giving shares to Somaliland in Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopia does not mean harm to Somalia or Somalia's people, but it wants Somalia to benefit from Ethiopia and vice versa. So all these comments of the Prime Minister led people to conclude that maybe PM Abiy wants to abandon or freeze the MOU with Somaliland. Well, my understanding is that government is not going to abandon the MOU with Somaliland. Rather, he's trying to appease Somalia. He's telling Somalia that what we have signed with Somaliland is a pure business deal. We don't want to annex any territory. So stay calm, talk to us. We want to talk to you as well, but let's not do saber rattling. Let's not wage war on each other. How will Somalia respond? Somalia obviously won't respond positively. It is not willing to talk to Ethiopia. It wants Ethiopia to withdraw from the MOU before any engagement with Ethiopia. My understanding is that Ethiopia is not going to back down from the MOU. It will slow down the implementation, which is very expected, keeping in view international diplomatic onslaught on Ethiopia. MOU version 2 will be covered. Yeah, but MOU can be covered, but the activities Sammy has joined to a member, welcome Sammy S. Well, the MOU 2, part 2 can be covered. What about the activities emanating from MOU? Of course, Ethiopian military will have to start its work in Somaliland. That work cannot be covered. It will be visible. So, and if the two sides sign an agreement and then don't release it without implementation, what is the significance of this deal? So, one day, deal will have to be made public. At least the activities, the actions of the deal will be public. Everyone will know what is happening in Lohaya, what is happening in Berbera. So I think the implementation of MOU cannot be covered. Religion and politics are what, Sajid? They are intermixed in Ethiopia, especially Orthodox Church and politics. Muni Muni says your Fano translators cherry picked Abhi's response. So Muni Muni, correct us. Correct me where I made a mistake. I remember, by the way, Muni, you said that maybe a better deal for Ethiopia would be with Djibouti. That Ethiopia maybe should talk to Djibouti for a better deal. But has Djibouti shown any signs of flexibility? Rather, Djibouti is putting pressure upon Ethiopia. It has introduced some new conditions for Ethiopian importers and exporters. And Ethiopia has long experience of dealing with Djibouti. Uh, Maybe Ethiopia has realized that Djibouti cannot be trusted. It will blackmail Ethiopia in future too. Vadi Kambolcha is not here. I think he left after you left. Did not see much of him after you left. He's around, General Comsa says. Maksmed says, Abi, the best PM Ethiopia. We are saying welcome. By the way, when PM Abiy spoke at the parliament today, he did not say a word about recognition of Somaliland. He only said that Ethiopia will have a piece of land in Somaliland. In return, Somaliland will have shares in Ethiopian Airlines. The main issue, which is that of recognition of Somaliland, was not mentioned by the Prime Minister. And Ethiopian government will never make a mention of this main point. Why? Because if Ethiopia says today it's going to recognize Somaliland as a country, it will come under serious global pressure. Ethiopia will only announce the recognition once it has decided to press ahead with that. It will just announce and recognize Somaliland as a country. Before that, it does not want to speak about this recognition issue. Mooney says Abiy talked about Somalia and he showed respect for the people of Somalia for 5 minutes. Yeah, he praised the people of Somalia. We're only talking about the main points which he mentioned. Sajid Abiy cannot afford to press ahead with the MOU. By the way, can he afford to abandon the MOU, keeping in view the hype he has created? Can he afford to withdraw? Sajid Sudan update Magatism says, well, in Sudan, I think we're going to see a bloody, deadly war in coming days. That is my own understanding. I think military has decided to draw some red lines. It is training thousands of new fighters from different tribes, from different armed groups. And perhaps a final battle is in the making between RSF and Ethiopia and the Sudanese military. This battle will be fought close to Ethiopian border, Eritrean border. A deadly battle you will see. Signs are there. Military has launched some operations in Umedurman, in Khartoum, in Al Jazeera state. Strikes being conducted too. But I think in coming days, you will see deadly direct battles between RSF and Sudanese military, which is now supported by several armed groups from Darfur, Eritrea behind as well. Iran, by the way, viewers, is becoming involved because yesterday Sudanese Minister of Foreign Affairs visited Iran. This is first high-level contact between Iran and Sudan military. UAE is on RSF side, Iran is on Sudanese military side. Iran is going to supply drones to Sudanese military and maybe through Egypt or Turkey. Sudanese military will have Turkish TB2 drones as well. I am seeing a deadly war in coming days between RSF and Sudanese military close to Ethiopian and Eritrean borders. Suji Nah says hi. Suji Nah. Interesting name, Suji Nah. Fikro says, Sajid, only the Amhara people want the constitution to be amended. I love watching your show, Suji says. Suji, from where are you? Suji, it's a very interesting name for me. Suji Nah. Suji is from Pakistan, someone is saying. No, he's from Ethiopia, obviously. Sajji is from Pakistan. By the way, my nickname used to be Sajji in my childhood. Barkasa says hi. Born in Dire Deva, Sujina says. Okay. With 47 minutes have passed, I think we should end this live chat session. Uh, any update from Tegarai? Someone is asking. Well, Tegarai has been given a shut up call by the federal government. Federal government says that Tegarai government should focus on handling the humanitarian crisis there. Federal government is already doing more than enough. So it's the responsibility of Tigray government to do something. People protesting there. We have seen protests from injured veterans. TDF MAM protested twice in the last 1 week or so. TPLF still not eligible to contest election in Tigray. 1 million refugees there. And Tigray government yesterday rejected the idea of referendum to decide the status of Meravolkai Sagade. So many issues. Then Tigray a border. Tigray says its territory under the occupation of Eritrean military. So many issues. I don't know in which direction is Tigray going to go, but hard times ahead for Tigray. Tigray leadership will have to keep their differences aside and join hands to protect, to save their people from humanitarian disaster. That is the way forward, but we're seeing internal wrangling for power. And then PP wants to gain a foothold in Tigray too. TPLF does not want PP to have any presence in Tigray. So it is also one of sources of conflict between PM Abiy's government and Tigray. Moni Muni says, Sajid, can you please wear blue gloves like Debretsion? Well, Debretsion is in crisis these days. So I think green ones are fine. And secondly, I think maybe Debretsion is your role model, but he's not role model for me. So I am better off with these ones. Well, Moni, just one point about Debretsion. I criticize TPLF, I criticize Tigray interim government, Getachew as well, but I always say that these people like Debretsion, Getachew, they stood with their people. They could have fled Tigray when there was war in Tigray. They fought with their people. They fought in Tambian. They were there with their people. So that is why I say that it would be difficult to completely crush TPL, because in this time of crisis, whether this crisis was made by TPLF or not, TPLF did not turn its back on its people. TPLF leadership was there with Tigray. You can criticize Debretsion for wearing gloves, but Debretsion was there with his people. He was as vulnerable to attacks. He was as unsafe as other Tigrayans were. That is why this Tigray leadership, you'll see that this leadership will be there. It is still there. The Bratzian still party chairman. Uh, and Getachew, interim president. PP cannot crush TPL. PP cannot crush Tigray leaders. Only way forward is that TPLF should be absorbed in some central setup too. Opposition parties should be allowed to operate in Tigray. That is the way forward. Crushing TPLF is not a solution. Some people are commenting about Amhara list. Solo Biyo joined to welcome Solo Biyo, a member. Warm welcome to you. People are comparing. Uzil Gunner joined to Uzil. You have been a regular viewer, but lately I think you have not been able to attend the live chats. People are commenting about Amhara leadership. That Amhara leadership is fleeing the country. So how to compare between Tigray leadership and Amhara leadership? Well, Tigray leadership was united. Tigray generals, TPLF, opposition parties, all were united. They thought it was a war they should fight jointly. Otherwise, all will suffer. But Amhara region is split. And that is why maybe Amhara region is not in opposition. Though it's a bigger region, by the way. No comparison between Tigray and Amhara. Amhara is a bigger region, larger region, but it is not able to stand up to the federal government because the region is split. Is there any one Amhara leadership, Amhara leader who we can call representative of entire Amhara region? Any one name on which all Amhara people can agree? No. For Fano, maybe Skandar is the savior, but even not for all Fano fighters. Some would say Massafent, others would say Meremudajo. There are others who would say Gadu, and some would say no, Gadu is not true representative of Amhara people. He was an ally of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Then Amhara Pipi. Some would say Johannes Boyalo. Others would say Christian Tredale. Some are supportive of Prosperity Party. So basically, there is a lack of leadership in the Amhara region. I think Skandar has been propped up to lead. Liddato, I don't think that in this changed scenario, changed dynamics, Liddato is going to be acceptable to all groups in the Amhara region. I think Skandar was propped up as a leader. And to some extent, Skandar has managed to gain acceptance in Pano circles. And by the way, I criticize Skandar, but I appreciate him as well because he was in the US, if you remember. He was told he shouldn't return to Ethiopia. He'll be unsafe. The man decided against the advice given to him by some Ethiopian intelligence agency backed elements. He returned to Ethiopia and then, disgruntled, he chose to take up arms. He chose this path of armed struggle. He's risking his life. You might not agree with his ideology, but he is here leading Fano groups, risking his life, fighting because he believes this is the only way through which he can bring about change in Ethiopia. I think Skandar is the new face of Amhara struggle. He was propped up to represent the Amhara region, but still, to say that Skandar can get acceptance in the entire Amhara region, exaggeration. Lack of leadership is the main problem in the Amhara region. 56 minutes have passed. I think we should end this live chat session. It's always good to be with you in live chats. We speak freely, you write freely, we exchange views. That is how we understand each other and we reach some common ground, I think. Thank you for joining this live chat. See you tomorrow in the next live chat session. Till tomorrow, goodbye. Stay blessed. Take care. Bye bye.